Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How can you fight an enemy you cannot see? How can you break free from chains you cannot identify? Many of us are struggling, not because of what's outside, but because of what's working against us in the shadows of our own relationships. The tragedy of life is not when someone hates you openly, it's when someone close to you is secretly undermining your destiny. The Bible says in Galatians 3:1, who has bewitched you? Notice it doesn't say what has bewitched you, it says who. That means the source of your stagnation may not be a circumstance, but a person. Sometimes the greatest enemy of your future is disguised as a friend, a confidant, even a family member. The kingdom principle is this: darkness always hides in proximity to light. And until you identify the voice, the hand, the spirit that's bewitching you, you cannot walk fully into your purpose. Let me begin with a question. Who has the authority to speak into your life? You see, one of the greatest forms of witchcraft is not found in potions or dark rituals. It is found in the subtle art of words. Words that enter your mind and begin to shrink the future you once saw so clearly. A man or woman can be bewitched simply because they trusted the wrong voice. Isn't it amazing that you can start the year with fire, with passion, with a clear picture of what you were born to do, and then one conversation with the wrong person suddenly makes you feel foolish for believing? The greatest prisons are not built with iron bars, they are built with sentences. Someone tells you you're not qualified. Another says people like you never achieve things like that. And before long, you stop climbing. You stop building, you stop dreaming. That is the bewitching of vision. Think about Joseph. His own brothers could not celebrate the dream God gave him. Instead, they mocked, they envied, they plotted. And yet, it wasn't strangers who tried to kill him. It was his own blood. That tells you something critical. Those who bewitch your vision are often those closest enough to see it. They're near enough to know your vulnerabilities. They've studied your passion, and instead of nurturing it, they use their words to suffocate it. This is why you must guard your ear gates. Every dream is fragile in its early stages. A seed planted in your spirit can be destroyed by one storm of negative speech. Some of you listening right now are not lacking resources. You are not lacking opportunities. You are lacking the courage to silence the wrong voices. And let me tell you, if you always need the approval of people, you will never walk into the destiny heaven designed for you. Community, hear me. We must stop normalizing the culture of tearing one another down. It is tragic when the loudest critics of your progress are the ones from your own neighborhood, your own family, your own community. Every time we laugh at the ambition of a young person, we are participating in witchcraft. Every time we mock the attempt of someone trying to start fresh, we are unknowingly binding them with invisible chains. What would happen if instead of belittling, we began to build? What transformation would we see if every community decided that no dream is too big, no vision too impossible, no child too small to become great? So I challenge you, identify those who constantly diminish your vision, confront it, refuse to surrender the picture God has painted inside you. But beyond that, rise above it and become the person who waters the visions of others. Speak life, speak hope, speak courage. Because while one voice can bewitch, another voice can deliver. And today you must decide which voice you will be. Now let's face a difficult reality. It's easy to know who your enemies are when they attack you openly. But what about the ones who clap when you fall and grow silent when you rise? The most dangerous person in your life is not the one who curses you, it is the one who quietly refuses to celebrate you. Think about it. When you fail an exam, lose your job, or face a setback, some people will suddenly become very present. They'll call, they'll comfort, they'll offer you sympathy. But the moment you succeed, the moment you break a barrier, the moment you step into something greater, you look around and their voice is gone. No congratulations, no applause, just silence. That silence is loud. That silence is revealing, because love is not only measured by how people comfort you in pain, it's revealed in how they celebrate you in victory. Judas kissed Jesus not because he loved him, but because he wanted to disguise betrayal as affection. In the same way, some relationships in your life are kisses of comfort, masking hearts of envy. They draw close enough to touch you, but not to support you. They want access to your downfall, but distance from your breakthrough. I remember a young woman who told me she launched a small business. At first, her friends supported her with words. But as soon as she started gaining traction, suddenly those same friends mocked her, saying she had changed, that she was too ambitious, that she thought she was better than them. Listen to me, people who only endorse your struggle but resist your success are not friends. They are weights, and weights are not meant to be carried, they're meant to be dropped. Let me speak to our community. We have built a culture that is comfortable with failure but suspicious of success. We throw a party when someone is released from prison, but we whisper behind their back when they graduate with honors. We flood social media with sympathy when tragedy strikes, but we choke in silence when someone breaks a generational curse and buys a home. What if we reversed that culture? What if we celebrated breakthroughs with the same passion we console breakdowns? What kind of strength would we release if we shouted just as loud for the victories as we do for the struggles? You must discern carefully. Don't just watch how people walk with you in the valley. Watch how they respond when you climb the mountain. True loyalty is tested not in your weakness, but in your strength. And if the applause dies when you succeed, let them go, because destiny requires cheerleaders, not silent spectators. Surround yourself with those who don't just pity your losses, but who dance when you win, because anyone who cannot handle your rising is unqualified to walk with you to your crown. Let me tell you something powerful. Control is the weapon of every manipulator. The person who seeks to keep you dependent is the one who secretly fears your independence. You see, as long as you rely on them, they feel strong. As long as you need them, they feel relevant. But the moment you begin to stand on your own 2 feet, they feel threatened. And so they fight, not with fists, not with open hostility, but with strategies designed to keep you small. Have you ever noticed that some people will help you just enough to keep you grateful, but not enough to set you free? They loan you money, but only in small amounts so that you always come back for more. They give you advice, but never the whole truth, so that you are always seeking their wisdom. That's not generosity, that's manipulation. That is how bewitchment works, not by blessing your growth, but by binding you to their shadow. Consider Samson. As long as he relied on Delilah's lap, his strength was compromised. She made him dependent on affection while secretly plotting his destruction. And some of you have Delilahs in your life right now. They smile, they soothe, they promise comfort. But the longer you lean on them, the weaker you become. Dependency is dangerous because it blinds you to your own capacity. You start to believe the lie that you cannot live without them, that you cannot decide without them, that you cannot move forward unless they approve. That is not friendship. That is slavery dressed as love. And let me speak to our society. This spirit is not just in relationships, it's in systems. Look around. Whole communities have been kept dependent by structures that give just enough aid to survive, but never enough opportunity to thrive. Handouts without empowerment, assistance without education, charity without liberation. This is how entire generations are bewitched, trained to expect crumbs while forgetting they were born to own the bakery. The most dangerous prison is not built with walls, but with dependence. When a man or woman loses the will to think for themselves, they hand over their destiny to someone else. And I say to you today, break it. Break the chain of dependency. Refuse to be controlled by anyone who wants you needy rather than powerful. True love does not bind, it releases. True friendship does not clip your wings. It teaches you to fly. So I challenge you, examine the relationships, examine the systems, examine the voices. Ask yourself, are they feeding me to grow or feeding me to stay? Because anyone who fears your independence has already declared war on your future. Cut the cord, walk free, and never again apologize for becoming strong. Bewitchment does not always come with candles, chants, or ceremonies. No. Sometimes it wears a suit. Sometimes it wears a smile. Sometimes it sounds like a whisper from a trusted voice. And its power is not in what it shows you, but in what it makes you believe. The most powerful witchcraft is not found in rituals. It's found in poisoned perspectives. When someone wants to control you, they don't always attack your strength. They attack the way you see. Because if they can twist how you perceive, they don't need chains to bind you. You'll bind yourself. They don't need to lock you in a room. They'll lock you in your mind. This is why gossip is so deadly. Gossip is not just idle chatter. It is character assassination by suggestion. A seed planted in your mind that changes how you view a person, a leader, or even yourself. I once counseled a young man who lost his fire for education because someone close to him whispered, "School is a waste of time. Nobody from here ever makes it anyway." That single sentence bewitched his mind. He stopped seeing classrooms as doors to opportunity and started seeing them as cages. And because his perspective was poisoned, he abandoned what could have been his breakthrough. That's the power of poisoned words. They are silent assassins. You look at the Garden of Eden. The serpent didn't strike Eve with a sword. He struck her vision with a question. Did God really say? That question shifted her perspective from trust to doubt, from confidence to confusion. And that one poisoned thought altered the course of history. So never underestimate the enemy's weapon of manipulation. It rarely shouts. It whispers. And let me address us as a people. Our communities have been bewitched by narratives that tell us we are less, that we are incapable, that our value is limited. Media, systems, and even traditions sometimes serve as the serpent, whispering lies that shape generations. When a community believes the lie long enough, they stop fighting. They stop hoping. They stop building. This is why we must guard the collective perspective. If our children are told they are nothing and we do not correct it, then we are participating in their bewitchment. So I ask you, whose words have you allowed to define you? Whose whispers have shaped your picture of yourself? The most dangerous poison is not swallowed through the mouth, it's received through the ear. Protect your perspective. Reject every voice that twists your vision and rise above the whispers of manipulation. Because when your perspective is pure, no witchcraft can hold you. And of the clearest signs that someone is bewitching your life is that they try to cut you off from truth. Truth is dangerous to every manipulator because truth exposes. And so the tactic of control is always isolation. If I can keep you away from wise voices, if I can silence the mentors who guide you, if I can convince you that no one understands you but me, then I can control you. Isolation is not always physical. It is emotional, mental, and spiritual. It convinces you that you are safer in secrecy than you are in community. I have seen young men fall into destructive lifestyles because someone told them, don't listen to your parents, they don't know the streets. I have seen young women stay in abusive relationships because the abuser convinced them, your friends are jealous of us, they don't want to see you happy. That is not love, that is imprisonment. Whenever someone discourages you from counsel, whenever they attack the very voices that could open your eyes, beware. They are not protecting you. They are preparing to control you. Remember Elijah? After his greatest victory, he ran into the wilderness and sat under a tree crying, I am the only one left. Isolation made him believe he was alone, when in reality, God had preserved thousands. That's what isolation does. It distorts reality. It makes you feel like nobody cares, nobody sees, nobody stands with you. And in that place, you become vulnerable to the lies of the enemy. Let me speak to our communities. Too many of our people are being destroyed because they are cut off from the voices that could heal them. We are living in a generation where individuals believe Google searches replace wise elders and social media influencers replace spiritual counsel. We have traded seasoned wisdom for trending opinions, and we wonder why we are lost. When we remove ourselves from accountability, we become prey. The lion never attacks the herd. It waits for the one isolated from the group. So the question is, who has been isolating you? Who has been slowly cutting you away from truth? Who told you that you don't need advice, that you don't need teachers, that you don't need community? That is not empowerment, that is entrapment. I say to you, run back to truth. Return to wise counsel. Surround yourself with voices that lift, correct, and sharpen you. If anyone seeks to cut you off from truth, they have already declared their intent to control your destiny. Reject the cage of isolation, because freedom is always found in the presence of light and community. Stay connected, stay accountable, stay free. The ultimate aim of bewitchment is not your feelings, not your comfort, not even your relationships. It is your assignment. Every attack on your life is designed to disconnect you from what you were born to accomplish. That's why people who are sent to derail you will always resist your forward motion. As long as you remain idle, they have peace. But the moment you step toward destiny, they rise against you. Because the enemy doesn't fear your present state, he fears your future impact. Look closely at your life. Notice how certain individuals only seem to create conflict when you're advancing. They didn't mind you when you were struggling, when you were going in circles, when you were silent. But as soon as you start building something meaningful, as soon as you begin stepping out, suddenly their true nature is revealed. That's because bewitchment is not random, it's targeted. It is an attack against anything that carries eternal value. Consider Nehemiah. The moment he began to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, opposition arose. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked, criticized, and tried to distract him. They didn't oppose Nehemiah as a man, they opposed the assignment he carried. Likewise, some of you are mistaking personal dislike for what it truly is. Resistance to the calling you carry. They are not against you, they are against what is inside you. And let me address us as a community. For too long, we have allowed those with vision to be crushed by those with jealousy. We silence leaders with gossip. We wear down dreamers with criticism. We suffocate creativity with suspicion. Then we wonder why our communities stay stagnant. If we keep resisting the very people who are sent to carry us forward, we are participating on how it treats the voices sent to rebuild it. Every society rises or falls depending on how it treats the voices sent to rebuild it. So the question is, who in your life resists your progress? Who keeps pulling you back into cycles that rob you of impact? Who discourages you every time you speak of advancing, of growing, of transforming? These are not just casual distractions. They are strategic obstacles meant to keep you bound. You must learn to discern it and confront it. Protect what you carry. Guard what you've been entrusted with, because your life is not just about survival. It is about influence. And if you allow people to turn you away from your assignment, generations after you will suffer the loss. Don't let the noise around you drown the call within you. Shake off every hand trying to hold you back and rise, because the greatest honor you can give God is not simply existing, it is fulfilling what you were sent here to do. So the question is not, am I being bewitched? The real question is, by whom? Because until you discern the source, you will misdiagnose the battle. Today, you must confront it. You must cut it off. You must refuse to let any human voice rise above the voice of God in your life. The kingdom life is too short to waste on counterfeit relationships. Rise up, identify, confront, and step boldly into the freedom God has already designed for you.